Okay, so this is my second interview with
Hamad Ebrahim, also known as Hamandi.
Hello. So let's start off with the biographical questions. Where did you grow up?
Hamad Bahrain, born and raised.
Hello. What school did you go to?
I went to Abdurrahman Kano International School.
Hello. How old are you now?
I'm 31.
What's your current profession or workplace?
I'm a music producer and a mixing engineer.
Hello. So tell me more about what you used to listen to growing up.
When I first started listening to music, it was a lot of new metal, like Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit. I think a lot of us grew up listening to that kind of stuff. And slowly through friends and my brother and other people introducing me to more music, I went into the more progressive progressive direction. But there was always like tons of stuff. I liked electronic music as a kid. I liked rap, hip hop. So it was really like a melting pot of different genres.
Awesome. Do you have any other artists in your family?
Tons, actually. All of my siblings played or still play an instrument at some point. My cousins all play instruments or sing, and we even had bands together growing up, and extended family as well. So it kind of runs in the genes. Yeah.
Did you study your art formally, or was it a hobby that later turned into a life profession?
I've had zero, the only lessons I took were from friends showing me how to do specific techniques. Otherwise, I've relied on YouTube and, just the internet, from guides to resources to anything like that. There was no any formal training on any instruments. I actually have zero music theory knowledge to this day.
So moving on to questions about your life relating to your art. What's the turning point in your life that made you take this art more seriously?
I think I always took it seriously to a degree. Ever since I picked up the guitar, it was always about writing music. It was never about just playing and doing covers and stuff like that. For me, it was always about songwriting. It was always about production. But I'd say maybe around when I was 18, when I got my first when I got my first audio interface and got a DAW to work on, that's when things really became I'd say more than a hobby and into something that I wanted to pursue professionally.
So who are the specific artists that inspired you growing up?
Lots of them, صراحة. I can say that the most influential artists have been probably bands like Mastodon, Cynic, and later on Periphery and Tesseract, stuff like that. So it's always been a revolving door of different artists that put me on different paths in life in terms of what I'm pursuing musically. So when I first started, it was definitely bands like Mastodon. Cynic propelled me into a more technical side, and then Periphery really got me into groove-based metal music.
Have you been imitating someone in the field of art, or using them as reference or such?
I think we all imitate at some point. Nothing ever is original. So you're always inspired by something other than there's always artists that you kind of take cues from, either consciously or subconsciously. And for me, I can list so many artists that I've stolen from or took inspiration from, and I think lately. The last sort of artist that I feel like I've been sort of trying to nail a vibe that is close to what they're doing is Josh De La Victoria, an amazing guitarist who has a knack for writing some really incredible stuff.
Awesome. Do you have an artist philosophy, and if so, what is it?
Philosophy? Um, I don't think there's anything specific that I try to follow. I guess I'm always chasing a feeling. And for me, it's just about the making music or pursuing anything. It's all about just showing up, and you show up to the place that you write on. For me, it's like the studio in front of the computer. You show up every day, or at least as much as you can, and you try to make something happen. And if anything sort of happens, like if there's a spark, you just have to chase it, follow it to your best until you get somewhere. I think that's one of the things that I think are necessary to create art.
Awesome. So moving on to questions about messages that you try to deliver with your art. What is the message that you're trying to deliver through your art generally?
I don't think there's ever been any sort of decisive message. I think it's all about expressing something, and I love storytelling. I love being able to weave narratives into the music, and lately I've been shying away from that and trying to go into more personal experiences. And I think it's just about trying to get out whatever you can get out, so that it's not stuck here and it's out there in some form of art medium. For me, everything differs. There's stuff that I feel is coming from a personal place and personal experience, either with grief or loss, frustration, and there are things that I just do for fun. Sometimes you just want to make people dance. I don't know. So yeah.
So what's the meaning behind your work to you?
It's an outlet. It's a creative outlet for anything that I feel. If I'm having a good day, if I'm having a bad day, if something horrible happens in my life, if something great happens in my life, it's the way I sort of express these things by writing music. And I don't know. I think that it's okay for stuff to be meaningless sometimes, and it doesn't always have to carry a message or a sort of profound thing behind it. Sometimes it can be just stupid fun.
Talk to me about a specific message that you delivered through one of your latest works.
Sure. On the latest release, which is incredible, or at least that's not the latest release. On one of my latest releases, Incredible, the whole song is about familial ties, and just I wrote it as a person who's growing up and seeing their family grow old as well, because it's a thing life doesn't prepare you for. That your parents, whoever you surround yourself with, they will grow, they will become frail, and you'll have to witness that as a person. And I think what I wanted to convey in the song is that in that sort of circle of life thing, the most important thing is to have these ties that bind. Surround yourself with loved ones who you can carry and can carry you.
Do you think that your art is important to society, and if so, why?
I think art is important to society, and I can't decide if my art is important to society. I like to think of myself as one of the many musicians in Bahrain who are trying to do something, to make music, to get out there, to put out stuff, to collaborate with other people, and I think that in itself is important. That we all sort of try to work together and collaborate and do things that are fresh and new and innovate. So I'm in the pursuit of that always. So I think that's important. I don't know if my art is important, but I think that's important.
Why did you choose guitar specifically?
I think I was just fascinated by a distorted sort of sound growing up, because you see guitars growing up as a kid and you think of them as these acoustic instruments. So when metal was when I first heard a metal song or saw a guitarist playing an electric guitar in a music video, I just thought that sort of raw, disgusting sound sounded really cool. And I guess my parents wouldn't get me drums because I always saw myself as a drummer trapped in a guitarist's body. But yeah, I got guitar. That was the very first instrument.
Have you tried exploring other genres?
I'd say that currently I'm not mainly focused on metal. It's probably the last thing I want to. In my sort of bag of tricks, it's the last thing I go for these days. Especially in a lot of the new music that I'm writing, it goes into so many different genres that aren't metal. There are metal influences because, of course, I grew up as a metalhead, as a metal musician, but now it's taking form into many different genres like electronic. There's some techno stuff, there's some drum and bass stuff, there's stuff that's inspired by drill, there's stuff that's like, I don't know, folksy. So now I'm trying to not use metal as my main sort of mode of expression all the time, but it's definitely not something that's ever going to go away.
Do you have bands?
I'm currently with a 4-piece outfit called Wazn. It's a band split between Bahrain and Kuwait. 2 of us are from Bahrain, the others are from Kuwait. We've been a band since 2019. It's a progressive metal project, which helps me get away from metal because I can focus all my heavy, like progressive, technical, pristine sounding stuff there, and all that energy there, and I can sort of do my own thing in my solo project. So yeah, we have a couple of singles out. I don't know when this video will be out, but our EP would probably be out. Our debut EP will probably be out before this video comes to fruition, I guess. Yeah, but well, we have some stuff coming up soon.
Cool. Can you tell me about your experience with the metal community in Bahrain and GCC?
Sure. I wouldn't say I'm super in the scene. I've always been like a stay-at-home kind of guy, and I'm sort of like blooming very late. But there are a lot of cool bands in Bahrain. There are a lot of cool bands in the GCC generally. I'm working with a lot of people in Saudi, in Kuwait, that I think are pretty cool. And I feel like there's a sort of shift in energy in the scene lately in the Gulf and the region. More bands are popping up, they're trying out different things, and because it's so easy to write music and collaborate from anywhere in the world, and to do it at home at a pretty inexpensive price, and so it's kind of cool to see the scene sort of flourish a bit more.
So when it comes to practicing, do you have any specific practice routines that you do?
Not really. When it comes to guitar, I don't remember when the last time was when I picked up a guitar and started doing exercises and stuff. I think because I record a lot and because I try to push myself to write stuff beyond my abilities, the attempting to do different takes just to get the right take sort of counts as practice for me, and because I'm trying to shake off the rest and record at the same time, so I have to get the take as tight as possible. So that's about the only form of practice I do for guitars, at least. And for vocals, I do some warm-ups anytime before I have to sing. And I guess in terms of production and stuff like that, I'm always trying to find tutorials to do any sort of production technique and learn as much as possible, because that's an ever-evolving art form.
What do you like the most about your art?
I think I like the way it makes me feel, man. Because the only reason I would finish a song and put it out is that I'm feeling good about the song when I'm writing the song. When I'm mixing the song, whenever, if something makes me feel, I don't know, if there's a fire behind it and I'm driven, I want to finish something, then that's when I'm the happiest. So that's how it makes me feel.
Yeah. Speaking of finishing work, what motivates you to work on making your art?
It's ideas. I get ideas all the time. يعني sometimes on a random drive, I just put the phone in front of me, take a video, and like sort of hum the riff or the song or the melody or whatever it is. And sometimes there's just lyrics in my head when I'm watching TV or I'm hanging out with my friends that I immediately go to write down. And I don't know, these things come to me, so I feel like I owe it to myself to try them out, to give these ideas chances, and see where they go.
Do you know the other two artists in this project?
Yes.
Hello. What's your experience with them?
I haven't had much experience with Busluh and Abdullah because he's been a part of the community for so long, and one of the people behind Room to Rock. He's always been a helpful guy, pretty cool, always wants new bands to come up, he wants music to happen in Bahrain. Busluh, I'd say, is a pretty cool guy. I've had a few conversations with him, some interactions here and there, and he's very helpful. He even offered to, whenever I need any sort of guidance in terms of studio stuff, engineering, recording, that he'd be more than happy to sort of talk to me about it and stuff like that.
Cool. So, who's your current favorite artist, or the most artists that you tend to listen to?
I'd say these days it's I don't even know. These days, this year specifically, I think it's been Knocked Loose. That band is aggressive beyond the word aggressive. They have a way of hitting emotions and putting out stuff that sounds so pissed off that I don't think anyone has been able to do in the way that they're doing it. They're a crazy good band. They sound insane.
So, do you have a specific favorite subgenre
Of metal?
Yes.
I don't think, I would say progressive before, but now I really don't think so. And I'm listening to all kinds of stuff. I love technical death metal. I love, post metal. There's even some thrash stuff that I enjoy. I love a lot of hardcore. So I don't think there's there's a specific subgenre that I'm really into these days. Before I would have said progressive metal, and I didn't listen to anything else but progressive metal when I was growing up.
Questions a little bit not related to the interview, but they're fun to know, I guess.
Yeah, I do.
Do you get inspired by other hobbies other than music to make your art, like video games or movies?
For sure. I don't game as much as I used to. I used to, be a pretty hardcore gamer. Now, I try to squeeze in a session every once in a while, especially when a game that I really like comes out. Games, anime, movies, TV shows, they all sort of blend into a mishmash of inspirations. And besides the insane soundtracks behind some of those works, there's also, I'm a very visual person, so I'm really inspired by visual stuff, and it all sort of helps me get into a specific vibe or a mood in order to create something. So yeah, for sure.
All right, now for our last question, which I'm gonna be asking every artist. If you could go back in time to talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice you're gonna give to them?
I think I would have liked to take music a bit more seriously when I was younger. But it's all a process, and I wouldn't be here if I wasn't who I was back then. But I think if I started a bit younger or became more serious about the stuff that I'm serious about right now, it would have been beneficial to me. But I think, besides that, good advice would be to, not be a perfectionist, to just have fun, to commit to whatever you have and move on. There's tons of demos and unfinished songs on my hard drives actually, that if I wasn't just so annoying about, I think I would have finished. And I think it's easy to fall into the trap of trying to make something as perfect as possible, and art is never finished, it's only abandoned. So that's any advice I would have given myself, is just to just care less, commit to what you have, and move on.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much.
حاضرين.